Welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole. Hello and welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, everybody. I'm your host, Nicole, and we are together for another series. We are doing another series here on this show, and I'm very excited about it. It's been a long time since we've done one of these, and we have never done one like this before. So I am really excited to deliver this to you. There are going to be 12 episodes in this series, so buckle up. We're going to be on this ride together for a little while together. And I swear to you, it will all be worth it. We are going to dive into the profiles. We're not just going to go through the profile lines, which we have done before on this show. I've actually talked very little about individual profiles on this show. I've talked about them in context when I'm talking to people, of course, and when I'm talking about celebrities or things like that, or if we've done readings on the show, of course, I'm talking about the profiles themselves. However, I haven't done episodes where it's like, today we're going to talk about the 1-3 profile, which is what we're going to talk about today. And this is a dive into each of the profiles in human design. We're going to go through all 12 of them. Each one will get its very own dedicated episode. So I'm super excited about this because profile is one of my favorite things to work with my clients. It's one of the highlights of readings that I do with people. Honestly, because it is part of what I call, the human design trifecta. The 3 most important pieces for you to focus on are your type, your authority, how you make your decisions, and then your profile. And the reason for that is because if you are not living in alignment with your profile, then things are just going to feel off in your life. And it's not just about that because, we all get a little caught up in the incarnation cross, right? Our incarnation cross is our purpose in life, and human design, that's part of how it tells us what our life theme is. What are we here for? Which is, an existential question I think so many of us are asking, particularly if life hasn't felt like it was just laid out perfectly on a smooth, bump-free road for you. We want to know, what am I here for? Why am I going through all of this? Is there a purpose to it all? What's my purpose? I feel called to something big, but what is that thing? And we can get very attached to what is the thing, right? But profile is so magnificent and powerful and so eye-opening for so many people because your purpose through your incarnation cross cannot be lived out if you are not living your profile. Your profile is the role you are here to play in this life. This is the character description of who you are here to be. Now, of course, like all character descriptions, that can be interpreted different ways. It can come through different ways. However, when there's a certain essence to each of the profiles. And so in each of these episodes, I'm going to break down really what I have seen working with all of these profiles at some point, some a lot more than others, because some are more popular than others. Some are there's a lot of 1-3s, tons and tons of 1-3s. And then there are certain types that are much rarer because they are like interim types. They are a different type of profile where there are fewer of them because there's a shorter time period that somebody would need to be born in order to get that profile. So we just meet less of those people. So they're rarer birds. So I'm going to give you some examples of famous people with these profiles to try to illustrate the point for you. I'm going to talk a little bit about how they are traditionally described, and then I'm going to give you a little bit more of the description that I give, the names that I give them, because I find them more empowering than the ones that have been attached to them from Ra and from the traditional human design structure. So we're going to dive into this. We're going to start with today's episode, which is about the 1-3 profile, which is the Investigator Martyr. If you are following along with traditional human design, if you run a report, you will probably get those words on that report next to the 1 and the 3. And quite frankly, doesn't sound all that great. Investigator, I suppose that's fine. Martyr, most people don't like being called that. And we're going to talk a little bit about why those names are what they are, and I'm going to give you a new name. I call it the Innovative Specialist. The Innovative Specialist, there's a real potential for the 1-3 to be courageous in this life. And we're going to dig into that a little bit more. I also want to call out that we are having, during this series, we are doing a little contest. So we've done them here on the show before when we've done other series and at other times, but this is really fun. If you love the series, if you love the show, please share it on your Instagram. Take a little screenshot. You can put whatever you want up there. Tell people why you love the episode, why you love the series, why you love this podcast, and tag me. This is an important part. Tag me. I'm at Nicole Lano Official. And then when you tag me, you will be automatically entered to win a human design reading with me here on the show. We've given them away before. They're super fun episodes. They're really in depth. And Christy Wild was the last one that we did. She was our last winner. So you could go back and listen to her episode, and we will link that up in the show notes for you if you want to hear some of the insights that came through on that, if you want to know if that's something you would like to win. I normally charge $555 at the time of this recording for human design readings. So this is an opportunity for you to have a human design coaching session and reading with me one-on-one. So all you have to do that is just share the show. It helps us get the word out about the show. It helps us spread the word, hopefully change some more lives with this podcast. And if you want to help us do that, I am happy to reward you. So we're super excited about this, and I hope that you join us. I hope you participate. Okay, so let's talk about the 1-3 profile, okay? So the 1-3 profile, let's just start out talking about what it is. So there's different types of profiles. Profiles, like I said, they tell you how your purpose will be lived out. It will be lived out through being this type of person, through doing the things and having the type of life that this person would have. And your profile gives you the description for what that person is, what that character, the main character of your story, has to be. They've got to be a certain type of person, right? And you all know, if you've been listening to this show for a while, my age-old example and analogy for this is if you think about movies and you think about iconic movies with really strong characters, we have a hard time picturing somebody else playing those roles, right? It's the role of their lifetime. Jack Nicholson playing Forrest Gump is a different movie, and I don't know if that movie works. But Tom Hanks playing Forrest Gump, and that's an Oscar-winning role. That is a mind-blowing performance, right? We look at Tom Hanks, and he says all the time, people come up to him and say lines from his movie, from lots of his movies. And one of those is, they'll talk to him about, life is like a box of chocolates. They'll talk to him and say that to him. It's iconic. It's so him. But Jack Nicholson in that role, I don't know if that movie works. So if you're trying to be a different type of person, then your movie might not be working. And profile can help us figure out how do we maybe make shifts that are strategic, that help us find our alignment, that help make life not just a little bit easier, but this is where we start to pull the right things to us. Everything with human design is about getting out of the way so that we're able to allow the cosmic geometry to pull us on the path to collide and connect with the things that are meant for us. The opportunities, the people, the inspiration, the action, whatever that is. So profile is a huge part of this. So let's start out by saying, so there's a destiny attached to a profile. And the destiny that's attached, there's different types. We have right angle crosses. So if you look at your incarnation cross, it's going to say right angle, it's going to say juxtaposition cross, or it's going to say left angle. Now, the 1-3, that all of those distinctions come from the profile. The profile is what tells us whether you are a right angle, a left angle, or the very rare juxtaposition. Now, the first type, which is most of the world, I believe it's like 68%, 70% of the world has a right angle cross. It's the vast majority because it makes up most of the profiles. So the right angle profile What that means is you have a personal destiny. 1-3 is a right angle profile. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the right angles and the left angles. Now, we all know that there are 6 lines in the human design. Each gate has 6 lines. That's where the profile lines come from. We're talking now about the 1 line and the 3 line. Now, if you were looking at a hexagram or a gate, the gate would have think about it like 6 stacks, 6 lines that it makes up. And that gives it flavor to the type of gate that you have. So I'm gate 64 is my conscious sun, line 5. That gives it another set of distinction to my 64 that twists it into, there's leadership energy in the 5, there's power in the 5, there's practicality in the 5. It gives it its flavor. It says you're gate 64, but you're going to have it like this. Someone who's gate 64, who has it in a line 1, is going to be a little different than me, right? So even though we have the same gate. So what we're talking about there is lines 1, 2, and 3 are part of what we call the lower trigram. And the analogy or the visualization that we give for this is like if you had a house and it had 2 floors. And on the first floor are lines 1, 2, and 3 stacked on top of each other. And then on the second floor, you have lines 4, 5, and 6. The 4, 5, and 6 are stacked on top of each other. And the 6 is almost sitting on the roof on top of it, and with 4 and 5 on that top floor. Now, what's interesting about the 1, 3 is that the 1 and the 3 are both on the bottom floor. It's the only profile like this. It's called the Investigator Martyr. I like to look at it as the innovative specialist. I look at this as someone who is on a path of potential to be very courageous. And that really comes from the fact that they've probably had to be courageous. That these people are usually very driven. 1-3s are normally very, very driven. They love to learn. A lot of them like to learn about themselves, largely because life has probably thrown them many curveballs, that they've had to learn how to be very resilient, which is all the lessons of this profile. How do I get to grow? And how do I get to really become who I'm meant to become? There's always that authority with the first line. The first line is always going to be working towards some sort of, bigger stance, expert stance. And how does it do it? Through investigation. That's where the investigator comes from. Now, where does the name martyr come from? The name martyr comes from the fact that, quite frankly, a lot of things go wrong for 3s. And it's not a comfortable life because it's a trial and error process. Error is difficult to deal with. I think we'd all rather deal with more success. And if all trial resulted in success, then we'd feel really good about trial. But here's the thing about 3s, is that trial often does not lead to success right away. They have to be resilient. And while we have the 1 and the 3 in this profile, the 1 is the personality. The 3 is the backseat driver. The 3 is the unconscious. The 3 is the part that maybe it doesn't really feel like you identify with it, like somebody who tries things, like somebody who goes out there to get it and is ultimately here to find new ways to do things, that's here to innovate, that's here to change things, that is interested in change. And the 1 likes stability. The 1 wants to know. The 1 is really, really interested in depth. And the 3 is like, screw it, next. So you have these 2 pieces that sometimes can result in, I'm going to say, some impatience with these people. Every profile has tremendous capacity and potential for success and for growth. The 1-3, the potential here is tremendous to be courageous, to be a very big authority, to be a real change maker, and somebody who displays bravery, who people really look up to. That authority really comes from that 1-line personality. There's a destiny to that. But here's the thing, in order to become an authority as a 1-3, you need to be able to accept some failure. And that can be really hard for these people to stomach at times. Or they can feel, which is the downside and the shadow side of the 3 line, which is pretty pessimistic. Things don't work out for me. This is the martyr part, the sacrificial. Oh God, I'm going to do it again and it's not going to work. And life is just really hard. And if you get trapped in that, you never really step up and take your place as an authority. But these people, more often than not, what I see from 1-3s is they're really driven. They're hard workers. Again, that 1-3, the reason I brought up the 1 and the 3 line being on the first floor of the hexagram, the 1 line and the 3 line, both being part of that first floor, that personal side of the lines, is if anybody is on a ride that's about them and not about others, it is a 1-3 profile. If you have a 1-3, if you are a 1-3, you are here to learn about yourself. You are here to figure out your process. You are here to do what interests you. Investigating is about interest. And if you second guess what interests you because you're wondering if it will work, and you're holding back because you're afraid that it will not work, that it'll fail again, then you are ultimately holding yourself back from whatever destiny there is for you. Whatever that point of destiny is for you, you will have to walk through some fire. You will have to see that not everything that you set up to do works. And you got to become okay with that. You have to learn to be okay with that. And the more okay with that you become, the faster you'll move, the easier things will be, and the more you'll learn, which means the more you'll have to offer others. But this profile, they're usually very introspective. And this is what I mean. The 1 wants to sit back, retreat, create things, be kind of in its own energy. And the 3 is like, no, come on, let's go do everything. Let's try it all. And you might feel that there's a hard time balancing those 2 things, those 2 truths. And that's your game, is you have to learn to balance those 2 truths, those 2 sides of you. Now, some famous 1-3s that I wanted to bring up, because I think that this helps illustrate the point. I think that when we see some people, 1-3s are very successful people. There's a lot of successful 1-3s out there. There's absolutely no shortage of them. And there's some superstars as well. Beyonce is a 1-3. Chris Martin is a 1-3. Vincent van Gogh, 1-3. Bono, 1-3. There are more. I could go on, but those are some just off. Like when I was preparing for this episode, I was like, who are some 1-3s that I could call out? Now, if you look at some of those examples, you have artists here. It's definitely going to be the rest of their chart that sort of determines what road they go down. But often the people who are famous for their interests are a lot of times going to be artists. They're going to be people who followed something maybe that was unconventional, which I think is what 1-3s do really well. They follow an unconventional path. They have the courage to cut through what everybody else says is the way and say, no, I think I'm going to go this way. I think I'm going to do this thing. Now, how that shows up is going to be determined by their type. Beyonce's a manifesting generator, super sparkly and just out there and very, very much in the spotlight and comfortable with that. That's the rest of her chart. That is all very much in alignment with her design overall. I did an episode on Beyonce. If you're interested in that, go listen to it. We did an episode on Bono as well. But 1-3s, talking about the profile, it is the courage to take action. 1s and 3s take action. The 1 and 3. The 1 gets comfortable and then takes action, and the 3 says, we don't need to be that comfortable. Let's move. Do you see how that balance could result in a really powerful energy? Somebody who gets stuff done? Now, like everything, there are shadows. Shadows are going to be maybe taking action in ways that don't serve you. Maybe getting really impatient that things aren't working and causing you to change things maybe when they don't need to be changed. Reflection is important for 1-3s. And sometimes we're leaning harder on one side than the other. We lean harder in the 3 or harder into the 1. Where are we imbalanced? A lot of times when things aren't working, it's because we are not balanced in really nurturing the 2 lines. One is leading the other. Which one's leading you? So I hope you found this interesting. We have a guide for you. If you're interested in this, we have an X Factor by Design guide, because this is really about finding your X Factor. Your profile is the X Factor. It's what makes you you. It tells you your process in life, and it helps you deepen your connection to who you really are. And you can move so much faster when you are in alignment with your profile, when you are in alignment with it. Then that's when the wind is at your back. This is when things get really fun. So if you're interested in that, we have an X Factor by Design guide. All you have to do is DM me the word X Factor on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Laino Official. We'll send that to you. But then if you want to go deeper and decondition your lines, we have actually released, for the first time ever, we have released my tappings, my EFT tappings. This is how I get you to decondition faster. We've released my deconditioning tappings for the lines for the first time outside of my Business by Design mentorship. Usually this is just for my clients, my paid clients who get my whole library. We have released some specific tappings so that we could make it really accessible for you to start deconditioning fast. So if you want those, DM me the word tapping on Instagram and I'll send you the link for that. All of it's great, but I hope that you dive into all of this, but the tappings are magic. This is where your life changes in the world of EFT. And the way that I do it is different than most EFT tapping professionals. So I hope that you give it a try with us. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. We will be back with another episode in this profile series. We'll be talking about the 1-4 profile next. We'll be going in order through all of them. So I hope you join us for that. I hope even if this is not your profile, that you got value from this and you start to understand maybe the people in your life a little bit better and understanding just how the profile works through us. I hope that this inspired you to dive into your design a little bit deeper. Thank you so much for being here with us. And remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks for letting us help you become unshakable with human design, everybody. We'll see you next time. If you love this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to nicolelaino.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.